Welcome to Context. I'm Bakhtiar Aslanov, and in this episode we will be focusing on the latest developments in the ongoing Gaza conflict. Recently, Hamas announced that it is reviewing a U.S. proposal for a new ceasefire and hostage release deal. The proposal, which the White House claims Israel has accepted, includes a 60-day pause in fighting, humanitarian relief, and guarantees of serious negotiations toward a long-term truce. However, there are indications that Hamas might reject it. We will analyze the implications of this proposal, the broader context of the Gaza conflict. Joining us today to unpack these developments is Imam Marwan Gil, leader of the Ahmadiyya movement in Argentina. Imam Gil, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Imam Gil, could you give us your assessment of the U.S. proposal for a ceasefire and a hostage release in Gaza?
Yes, I mean, there is a movement, but I think it's far beyond and less than there should be. It's, I think, for us common people, very frustrating, and I would say even maybe one of the darkest moments in our 21st century. It is leading to so much frustration and deception in our world leaders that you see on daily basis images almost in a live contemporary time span how poor persons are dying, especially children. And what we see on the other side are merely tweets, publications, asking, urging, threatening, but not more than this. There's no action. And we are now almost 18 months into this suffering unprecedentedly of the 21st century. So I think I welcome, and I think the majority of us welcome, but we would ask to have actions, not just negotiations, not just verbal rhetoric.
Imam Gil, the United States has claimed that Israel accepted the proposal. How do you interpret Israel's willingness to engage with this plan, especially after the March ceasefire?
I mean, as you highlighted very well, there was a very euphoric atmosphere when I think we celebrated the ceasefire, and we thought it's going to lead us now to a permanent step and direction towards peace and coexistence. But soon afterwards, Israel declared to break the ceasefire, attacked again, and now we have almost like 12, 13 weeks of period that not a drop of humanitarian aid is going in. So based upon this experience, it doesn't give you the hope or the certainty. And I think we need world leaders to back up their declarations by strong actions. In our case, as the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, even very few days after the 7th October, we said that the first step to establish a long-lasting peace between not only Palestinians and Israelis, but the whole region, is a permanent ceasefire, as it declared our worldwide caliph and spiritual head, His Holiness Mirza Masroor Ahmad. Obviously, it also includes the liberation of all the hostages, and then it also includes, very importantly, the implementation of international laws, of Geneva Conventions. Because as a Muslim, as an Imam, I believe in Islam, I follow the religion of Islam, which literally means peace. And we believe that you can't establish peace without establishing and accepting universal principles of justice. And the primary issue here is that we don't see the respect, the dignity, the sanctity of human life. It is not it's unacceptable that the life of one person based upon his ethnicity or nationality or religion has less value in our eyes than the life of others.
So what do you think of the proposed 60-day pause in fighting? Is this a feasible solution given the current dynamics on the ground?
I think what we need for now is a permanent ceasefire, because I believe as long as the war is going on, the death of every innocent person alive is one further or one more stone or obstacle you're placing in this path of peace and coexistence in the region. And by the time we are going on and innocent people are dying, instead of bringing us to this objective, is taking us back. As the Holy Quran states, that whosoever kills an innocent life is as if he has killed all humanity. And at the same time it says that whosoever saves one human life is as if he has saved all mankind, all humanity. And that's very interestingly a concept we find also in the Jewish Holy Scripture in Talmud. So I think this should be our priority. How can we save to the maximum point human lives of innocent people? And I think definitely I would welcome the ceasefire, but also we should keep in mind that ceasefire is not enough. We need to establish true principles of justice, and which should be established on long terms. They shouldn't be allowed that after certain weeks or days, one party breaks them again, because this conflict should be remembered. It has not started on the 7th of October. It has not started a few weeks ago. It's a conflict which is sadly almost now taking us back to 8 or 9 decades. And especially there I would make a very strong criticism to the international organization, especially to the UN, that it's not productive if the veto of one or two countries leads that the whole system is paralyzed and you have just merely tweets and resolutions, but there's no implementation and action on the ground level. It's going to lead otherwise to the same destiny which already the League of Nations has suffered.
And according to reports, Hamas is reviewing the proposal. Do you believe they are likely to accept or reject the terms?
I think instead of limiting to the decision of Hamas, I would, especially for our Muslim viewers who are very aware of this, but also the non-Muslim viewers, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, the founder of Islam, at one point he said that stop the suffering of your friend and stop him of committing or helping him in the case if he's the oppressor and also he is the one the oppressed. So you should step in and help him. So it's a very remarkable, interesting point, because if he's the oppressed one, it's very clear that help him and relieve his suffering and the injustice and cruelties against him. So in this sense, all the Muslim or the Arab countries who consider themselves as the friends of the Palestinians, they should step in. They should intervene. They should prevent their suffering by actions if they consider themselves their friends. On the other side, those who consider themselves friends of Israel, it's their duty, as the saying of the Prophet, that they should also help them to stop, to prevent them from committing atrocities. As he said, help them even if they are the oppressors. So I think in this moment we need all the allies, be it the allies from the Palestinian party or the friends, the allies of the Israeli party, to join these peace efforts and leave behind their national or the personal interests, but give priority to the common urgence of peace, because we are at the edge of a world war. And that's where also the Pope Francis has warned us many times, Pope Leo, and also in our case, the leader of our community, His Holiness Mirza Masroor Ahmad. He has told us many times that without justice, there will be no peace.
Yes. Mr. Gil, one of the key aspects of the proposal is the guarantee of serious negotiations for a long-term truce. How significant is this element for both Israel and Hamas?
I think here it's a part of the whole chain, because the whole Middle East is linked with each other. And it's not just Syria, but also you can include Lebanon, but also you can include Yemen. Then also obviously you have many other key actors around: Jordan, Egypt, Turkey, Saudi Arabia. So I think what we all hoped as well from the last Trump visit to the Gulf region and to this part of the area is that it can lead to a stronger and more stable, peaceful coexistence. Because if any escalation of the situation in this region, it will lead us to a regional war, and as many superpowers are included, it will automatically lead us to a world war. So I welcome any process which leads us to a more peaceful or harmonious coexistence between the different nations. But as I said again and again, I think it's very important that it's not merely tweets and verbal expressions. They should be supported and backed up by our actions. We can't just raise the slogans of peace and negotiations, whilst on the other side we see images of children dying because of hunger, being attacked and bombed. And that's in a timeline that no one has excuse of our leaders, political leaders, that he's not aware of what is happening. So I think we should be more active in our responsibility to the relief of the suffering, but also to a more active role in towards of establishing peace, because peace is not something which is gonna drop from the heaven. We have to work for peace. It requires actions. It requires even that you are criticized, but you have to take certain stands and you do have to defend certain values, be it your friends or your the opposite side.
Mr. Gill, Egypt has been playing a key role in mediating between Hamas and Israel. What is Egypt's strategic interest in these negotiations, and how does its involvement affect the chances of success?
I think it's important, obviously, the input of all the individual country, but I would highlight and stress that it requires that all the Arab neighboring countries, they have to get on one stand. They have to get on one joint platform. They have to unite their voice. And I wouldn't just limit it to the Arab Muslim countries, but I would open up to all the Muslim countries, that they have to unite. They have to leave behind their own personal interests or their geopolitical alignments in order to give priority to the peace, not just the Middle East, but all the region, all the world. So I think, obviously, I welcome the personal efforts of those countries. But as we have seen, the history is a witness. 18 months have gone. It has led to nothing.
Yes.
Every time the suffering is increasing, according to the expertise, 95% or more of the infrastructure has been destroyed. All the hospitals, the schools, 50,000 and plus people have died in the last 18 months. So still we are on the table of negotiations. I think it now requires, we should wake up. It requires actions, and the form to pressurize Israel and the allies is that the Muslim countries, they join in and they have one strong, common and joint stand.
Mr. Gill, how does the issue of the hostages complicate the situation? Is their release likely to be a tipping point for either side in the negotiations?
I think, as in our case also, in our statement issued by the Ahmadiyya Muslim community soon after the 7th of October by our worldwide caliph, he mentioned clearly, but the order is very interesting to see. First, the ceasefire, a long, permanent holding ceasefire, and then the second immediate point is the liberation of all the hostages. As we have seen even the past few weeks, all the hostages were liberated was during the ceasefire negotiation time period. And we have seen in the last 18 months, Netanyahu had declared his two main purposes of the war was to bring home the hostages and to finish Hamas. But after 18 months, we are further away than ever. He has not finished Hamas, and all the hostages, they remain in the caption of Hamas, and the only moment they were freed was during the negotiations or through the negotiations. So in our case, even as Muslims, and that's I also want to highlight especially, we condemn strongly to kill and even involve any civilians in issues of wars. That's why even the Holy Quran stated that even in case of legitimate warfare, the war should always be limited to the combatants and the fighting forces. So that's why we condemn strongly the loss of any civilians without making any distinction based upon creed, ethnicity, or religion. As a Muslim, for me, the life of an Israeli has the same value as the life of a Palestinian. The life of a Muslim has the same priority and the same value as the life of a non-Muslim.
And this is my last question. There are reports that even if this proposal is accepted, it might be difficult to maintain a long-term truce. So what steps should be taken to ensure any agreement is sustainable?
I think we have the Geneva Conventions, we have so many UN resolutions. So I think we just need to convert what is happening on or being published on as a tweet, as a statement, what the world leaders are declaring as urging, asking, threatening both parties. They should put it into action. And it can't take 18 months, 19 months to convert your verbal desires, hopes, and expressions into action. So I think the need is that the UN and all parties included, they should take it and convert their desires into actions and stop this suffering which we are seeing. And it's a suffering which is causing and sadly including all mankind. We have seen as well last week the horrific killing of 2 innocent people in Washington. So we should as well, as quick as possible, finish the suffering of the poor Palestinians, but also lead to a peaceful coexistence in the region and worldwide.
Imam Gil, we truly appreciate your time and the valuable insights you have shared with us today. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
To our viewers, thank you for tuning in to Context. We will continue to follow this story and bring you the latest updates. Until next time, stay informed and engaged.